Xerephine and Ayla Nereo to take it away with a songwriting lesson.
Hi everybody.
Aloha.
Hello. We just got to meet finally here at Arise, so we're kind of still like,
We're in legal
fans
mode.
So we were going to start off with just speaking a little bit about ourselves and where we come from musically and personally and all of that. Did you want to start?
Sure. Okay. So I'm from England. It's a good place to start. And I've been playing music since I was about 15. And speaking my truth through music relates to a whole process which has evolved so much over the past 15 years. And when I first began playing music, it was from a place of catharsis. So it was pure expression. And it was healing in that way, of course, but it didn't necessarily have a particular message or anything like that to it, and I felt like I used to be very shy, so it was really just, as I'm sure a lot of you can relate to, just doing it in your bedroom and just really getting your emotions out, and it makes you feel so good. And then about 5-7 years ago, something like that, I began to have a transformational process where songs were coming through and passionate feelings about the earth and the environment and our own healing processes and how important that is. And I began to notice that these songs were not just for me anymore, and I wasn't just expressing myself, but I was in a place where there were really strong messages coming through, and people would say, oh, like, your song really touched me, and, I really got some kind of a message from that. I wouldn't call it enlightenment, but, just some kind of light from it. And I noticed that when I really started to go for that there was this universal kind of power and force and energy that began to work through the music and through the songwriting process. And it's a lot to do with being authentic and having a feeling. And a lot of the time that feeling is pain, actually. It can be joy and ecstasy too, but what I've experienced is when you're in a really dark place, which I'm sure we've all been to, our shadow sides, you can only go upwards from there and to a place of healing. And the message I got from that was that for people to really heal from music, they have to resonate with it. So people that are in pain, they have to feel that painful place in the music, and then the music can elevate the person through a healing process. So my own personal process with the song and the universal kind of working of it, it happens in a cycle, and then that happens when you perform and you give the song to people, so people can resonate it. And if someone's in pain, they can feel that, because you're coming from the same place, vibrationally speaking or emotionally speaking, and then you're taking it to a place of healing. And so in the song, while you're giving the song, everybody is feeling that healing and feels that elevation, and that's part of it, and that's been part of my own process. And I'm so happy to be sat here with you, Ayla. You're so inspiring to me, and I feel like my musical journey is in some ways just beginning, and so yeah, it's a real kind of responsibility in some ways, I feel like, to notice a crowd and kind of pick up on what they need, and it's really powerful. So
Everything you're saying about all the things you said, just say exactly the same for me, actually. That's beautiful, thank you. my whole journey into songwriting was I'm kind of in awe. It's so similar. I was super shy. I just sang in my room. I was afraid of singing, actually, up until college. Terrified of singing. I didn't even sing Happy Birthday at gatherings. I was just like, it's closed up. And then songs started coming through in college, and I would just sing them in my room, and it was the people around me that really asked for it and encouraged it and said, like, would you have more songs? Will you sing more? Can you sing a little louder? Because I would be like, and so I really give a lot of credit to all those, and thanks to all those people in my life who really were the ones saying, like, please more, give us more of that. And that really drew my voice out because I was so scared to sing. I love what you said about the vibrational piece. That's been quite a big journey because for so long, this is a piece I don't really get to talk about very much, but it's really fascinating how much I've learned about the vibration of performance and when we are, what engages the potency of a song is more than just the words or the melodies of the song. And I used to perform, I had a band with my brother, and I also did solo stuff and played house concerts, and I was so nervous, I was so scared to be in front of people, and I actually decided at one point that I might just be a recording artist because I really hated performing. It was like so scary. And luckily I kept performing. But it was really uncomfortable. And there was one tour, the first solo tour I did up the west coast to Canada and back down to California. I realized somehow in the process of giving those songs, and it was the first time I was using the loop pedal too, so it was changing the energy of the songs a little. And I realized that if I was having fun, or if I was grateful, or if I just felt good to be there, or just, you know, loving people, that it didn't matter if I might even like totally mess up, the loop pedal might just like stop mid-song, but if I was feeling that energy, everyone was so happy with me, everyone would feel the songs. And if I was worried what they were thinking of me, I could do the most perfect, technically perfect set, and they might not receive it totally. And so just playing with that on that tour really grew me fast, and that was also the point when I really got the message that I needed to commit to this music and that this is what I'm on the planet for, and I needed to stop dilly-dallying, doing side jobs in Oakland and making expensive rent. And so I moved out of Oakland and I just committed to the music and lived in the, you know, a little, oh my god. I love seeing friends you don't expect to see. I moved to a tiny little room, $200, $300 a month rent, just so I could like afford to live and make music. And it was that little sacrifice of leaving a place that, you know, you get kind of nestled into wherever you're living, and you're like, oh, my community, it's so bustly, and there's lots of things going on, and Oakland's really cool and fun, but it's not feasible right now, and actually this is more important, so here I go, and just jumping off that cliff, and and it's interesting, because I feel like a lot of people, like David and I talk about this a lot. We have a lot of friends who are like, my passion is to make art, or my passion is this, but I need to make ends meet, and I have this apartment in San Francisco, and you know, and it's like, no judgment. It's a choice though. It's like we're always choosing, and so actually, it could be helpful to just say like, actually, what's more important right now is to be in San Francisco. That's what's feeding me right now. And if actually the art becomes more important, you might move out of San Francisco. But it's not a better or worse, it's just a choice. And so that was kind of a helpful piece of just committing to that. And then it was a whole series of amazing things, like applying to an artist residency, getting accepted. I had 2 months without rent where I could focus on the music. I did a Kickstarter that raised money so I could make the Beheld album. And then from there, like touring that, I met David shortly after that. There was like a lot of like, in that committing to the music, a lot manifested really, really fast. And just this way of, you know, us starting to collaborate and like going on tours together, and this whole journey just kind of grew from there. And so this is a big topic that we're doing. So I'm gonna stop there. We're also gonna ask for your guys' questions throughout. Maybe, I don't know if you want to say a bit more before we open that up.
Sure. So there's like two different sides to like truth through songwriting that I'm thinking about in this present moment. And so one of them, and I love what you say about committing to the music, because I feel like I have definitely just got to that stage where it's like, okay, here it is, you know, and it feels really powerful and like a whirlwind. So it's cool because I feel that magic happening, and it's very exciting. And so one of the things is like the emotional healing and the vibration, and that's a big lesson, the vibration thing of how you feel. And I think that's what I was meaning when I talk about responsibility, because if you're in a good place, that's literally what you're giving, and if you're in a bad place, or in a you know, what is everyone thinking, or how is the sound, or there's a multitude of things that can happen, then that's what you're giving. And so it's a real energetic relationship and a real cycle, and so that's a really good point. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, and to extend it, it's not just on the stage, it's like every moment, like interacting with everyone. It's so incredible. Sometimes I'll practice it and I'm feeling something towards someone and I'm kind of like trying to get what I want, or I'm like not really listening, or, you know, some judgment or something might be happening, and if I'm like, oh, like just start loving them, everything changes. Like the whole conversation opens up and everything shifts, and so it's really a powerful one. You know, we are these energy bodies held with these physical bodies, and so we haven't been guided in that way because of just the way that this whole world swirl is set up, and we're learning. I feel like we're the generation that are guiding the next ones to, like, you know, when we came in, we knew all of this. We knew everything, but then it gets forgotten and covered over and not talked about, or punished for talking about it. And so we're the ones who get to help the little ones and their children and the children to come to never forget any of that. And so it's neat because we're kind of we get to practice, we get to like be in the remembering, and, you know, and kind of go back to what was that like, and what is this like, and just practicing that is really fun. It's really a delight, and to really see how much it opens up our conversations and our interactions with people and what happens in our lives from there. And it's interesting because there's like the doing the things to help the world outside of ourselves, but then also the doing the work in here that changes the whole reality around us. And that can be the most powerful action that we can possibly do.
Those are the two sides that I'm thinking of. It's like exactly that, and it's almost like you mirror what's going on inside externally, so it's true. And yesterday I was talking to a friend and we were talking about just stage stuff, and we were saying that everything that happens is an opportunity to grow as a person and to become a better person, because if you get challenged with something, you can just move through it, breathe, come back to your center, you know, and know that life is amazing and everything is happening in the perfect order, or, you know, or you cannot. And that's what I find about this whole musical journey is it's such a lesson in that way too. And so then the other thing is the other side of it. So there's the internal part, which, yeah, I'm definitely on my own journey with, and we're always on our own journeys, aren't we? But then there's the external part, which is like the earth. And someone said something really interesting to me yesterday, actually, because I was talking about this organization that some people in this room know about called the Musical Activist Alliance. And the idea behind that organisation is to open a dialogue between musicians and the audience relating to an issue which is happening in the world as a tangible issue that we can easily make change upon. And so it's kind of trying to mobilise us and kind of organise us as a subculture. So we would say, hey, Denver Fluoridation Board is taking comments until August the 12th about fluoride in the water in Denver. And so fluoride is a neurotoxin, you know, and it destroys the ground. It's a forgetter. It's that part of the remembering.
Let's forget.
Exactly, and so it's also intertwined because that's an external thing that we're doing, and we're coming from a place of, but not coming from a place of you know, anger or fear. We're coming from a place of love and joy and knowing that we can change it. And so speaking about an issue like that, and there's lots of bands that do that. If you look at Xavier Rudd and Rising Appalachia, in between almost every song they're talking about, you know, the jail system, and Xavier's talking about fracking and saving 50,000 acres in Australia, and Nako Bear's talking about stuff, and I feel like there's a lot of power and energy behind these bands' movement because they're supported, because they are changing the world, and so naturally there's so much energy behind that. And so, yeah, the Musical Activist Alliance, we've got Rising Appalachia on there and a few other bands. And that's, for me, like, that's the external part, because I used to have these fantasies that I would be like in a hotel room one day or something, and someone like Björk would bust into the hotel room and she would say, okay, we're part of this secret organisation, and it's to combat the Illuminati, and in the songs there's secret hidden messages, and we're activating people, we're going to change the world, and you don't know it, and so it's like, well, we can just create that reality. We just have to create that, you know, because imagine, even at this festival, last night I was laying in my tent and I heard someone talking from the main stage about an issue, and it was like music to my ears, someone talking, because it's like, imagine if every stage everywhere was like that, this stuff would really sink in, and we would really all sign the petition and all do like these little things which make such a difference. And so that is also speaking truth through music, because it's like going back to the responsibility thing. I think I've just been feeling that word a lot recently, almost, but coming from a place of like love and joy and soulful, like from the internal working place.
Yes.
Totally. Does anyone have any questions?
Nice. Well done. Thank you.
So I think I had this realization once that all the greatest music comes from truth and from love. And you kind of mentioned those feelings, of whether it's like the shadow feelings come out. Some of the best songs probably come out from those feelings. And so I'm kind of curious, exploring the truth. I know you guys do amazing work to put messages into the music, and so I want to hear just like which are the most inspiring issues, because what you were just saying is like, yes, and I'm with you, we can't trust the governments to change things, but yes, we shouldn't totally give up. There's still hope. Somewhere within there is that there's balance. I mean, I'm thinking that we should maybe stop trusting them, and it's because their system's not working. Maybe we should just start our own. So I think that's what a lot of what's going on at Arise is we're kind of going. It's not even something new. It's something that's old. And so I guess, what is the knowledge that you guys are putting in? What is the truth? What's the inspiration? And what's that?
I think trying to stay connected to what is happening in the world, and you know, watching The Ring of Power, like that 9-hour documentary. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but it just has all these conspiracy theories, and you could spend like years on YouTube going down the hole, going, oh my God, everything's screwed up, and what are we going to do? And the thing is that's what they want, because they want us to feel powerless, and they want us to feel like we can't do anything, and we can. And this is the thing, is it's kind of like, for me, it's like a knowing of what's happening, and not completely just being la 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 la, even though like in one of my songs I say that in a moment, but that's just in a moment how I was feeling, you know. Have a lyric, this is I'll stick my fingers in my ears kind of thing. It's just like, I don't want to hear anymore. But that's not really true. The thing is it's just like knowing what's happening, and then having that belief like Ayla was saying, having that belief and really, really, really being strong, knowing that we are standing in community and really, really powerful beings, and having that trust and that center and coming from that place. And it's fairly easy for us, I feel, or for me, most of the time, because we live in a reality, I would say. I mean, I can't speak for every single person in the room, but we're living our dreams right here, most of us. We're making stuff happen. You know, we have the most amazing, we're surrounded by the most amazing, beautiful family and community and friends, and, you know, we see tangible change, and we know about things like Paul Stamets mushrooms that you can put into an oil spill and it eats the mushrooms, and you know about, oh, there's things like, you know, goat enzymes that digest plastic. We could actually use that and get rid of the plastic island that's floating in the middle of the ocean. There are the solutions, you know, that are there, and I think it's just, I feel like the energy is there, and really it's just channeling it, you know, and we have to be aligned within ourselves, like Ada was saying, and then we can really get it out there. And so the inspiration for me with messages and music is hearing a piece of news, feeling very moved by something, so much so that the way I know I can help is to put it into a song and sing it to people to make them feel a certain way and activate in a certain way, and then talk about it a little bit and just plant the seed, you know, and just keep it in our consciousness from a place of like, we can do this, like optimistic, joy, happy, love, like we know who we are, we know what we can do kind of thing. So
yeah, that's, I think for me, something I've realized about the music is that the songs that come through me really want to be voices for the ones who don't speak the adult human tongue, like the elements and the mama and all the beings, the trees and the birds and the animals and the children, and so for me, I feel like you know, the permaculture action tour has really been a big part of that too, what we've been doing with just taking the action that gets generated at these events and putting it into building up local communities and making really sustainable, you know, natural food forests or community gardens or community compost zones or building with cob or whatever it might be. And the energy of excitement and curiosity and wonder is so strong, and it really, I've come to realize through this process of that and also just my life that is one of the most powerful motivators I've found. You know, I can say, hey, everybody should grow their own food, or I can say, oh my gosh, our cucumbers are like, I've never tasted cucumbers this good, and it's because we put the seeds in our mouth before we planted them, so it would know our DNA and it would know our information, and this is actually a thing that we read about. And this is a cool thing to know because I'm really interested in it.
Anastasia?
It is Anastasia. But you then plant these seeds, and then they have your information, and you can keep giving them your information by walking barefoot or by drawing toxins out of your feet and watering the plants with that water. And so it knows what you need, and it is your medicine. And so you're eating your medicine all the time, and it knows you. And these foods, like, I mean, look at me. I'm like just talking about it. I'm just like, I love our food. We're eating only food from our garden and from a local CSA. And local CSA is starting to not even taste as good as our garden food. There's a difference. It's both local, it's both organic, but this food that we're growing with our hands and our love is so different. And so I'm so excited. And so, you know, that is probably a more powerful motivator than me saying, you should all grow your own food, you know? Because the should it's just like shitting on ourselves. We shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Our way, whatever it might be, whether for me it's like the earth, anything related to the earth and the children I get so passionate about, and wonder, and bringing back that wonder about this amazing planet that we live on, and that's my passion, and so that's how I share that. But whatever our passion is, if it's clean drinking water for everyone on the planet, or if it's ending poverty, or if it's getting people to get out of jail and like not even have jails anymore and have, you know, a healthier education system, whatever your piece is that you feel passionate about, if you really go towards it and you start really igniting that excitement and that wonder and that curiosity in people around that, they're going to just be on board. Because only you know how to speak to it that way, because you have that passion and that desire for changing it. And I think, I mean, we've probably all felt too, like if I were to talk about like how terrible the prison system is, we'd all kind of be like, yeah, it is, you know? Whereas if I was to start talking about, I can see a world where we don't even need prisons because we just take people into our community and tell them that we love them, and we're sorry that they had to feel that way, that it raises us. Instead of making us like, oh, there's something wrong, we need to fix it, it's like, yes, I see that too. Let's do it. And so like I even get the chills when I say things like that, when I'm like seeing the world that I want to live in. And so again, it's like it just keeps coming back to where are we when we talk about things? Where are we? Where's our energy when we're sharing our passion? And how are we orienting? Are we looking at I mean, it's important to say what is wrong, because we need to motivate people. Like, and this is, for the first time in my life ever, I cried during my set talking to people in the yoga tent on Friday, because I was so moved with where our planet's at and how much all the life forms on this planet need us to step up into our role as stewards of this garden and to really like tend her. And I got so moved that I started, I kind of just got really verklempt. And so it was nice. It was nice to share that. It was nice to just be real and share like, this is real. This is really happening. And then to direct it towards what are we creating? Because, you know, saying what's going on, the fact that half the species on this planet are gone in the last 40 years is shocking and sad. And I think that if we all take a moment to let that into our bodies, we'll probably all cry. You know, at some point I invite you to do that, because it's important to feel the grief of what's going on, and then to take that and transform it into what we're creating and how we can really create and protect the species that are still alive on this planet, so that our children and their children and everyone to come can really experience this exquisite world.
What is inside? What do you see coming?